Hello, all you crazy happy painters out there. I am Amy Dix with Create Happy, and today we are going to create happy with this beautiful autumn painting. And today I want to show you how you can take the same design, the same painting, and switch it up a little bit so that it creates happy for you. One of the things that is so important to me is that art is not just for one person, right? So when we create happy, I have two rules. You may already know this. I have two rules. The first rule is choose happy while you are painting. Choose happy, stay positive. But the second rule is to create happy. And beyond creating happy is to create your happy. And so you may look at this and go, yeah, I really like it, but maybe I don't like the blue background or the farmhouse look. I want it to look a little different so that I can create my own happy. So I'm going to teach you today how you can create your happy with this happy autumn painting. So this is the original. This is actually a 16 by 20. You can do that. We're going to be working off of a 12 by 16 today. It's my new favorite size to work off of, but you can certainly work off of a 16 by 20 canvas as well, or 11 by 14, or whatever makes you happy. Doesn't matter to me. All right, so I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create this happy autumn painting. So we also are going, as autumn comes here a little bit, for me, I don't know, fall brings up like all these changes for me. Like I always get this itch to change. So I typically like completely rearrange my house at this point, which I just did like a couple weeks ago. I'm always itching to go on a vacation at this point. I always just feel like I want to go somewhere. So for me, it's all about change. So we're going to talk about that today a little bit. We'll bring in some signs of happiness thoughts here on that. But let's get started here on this painting, our happy autumn painting. So as we always do, we set an intention for our painting. For me today, I'm just going to, let me do this. I'm going to tell you what my intention is, but more importantly, I am going to write it on myself. So today, my intention is to create, not happy, always create happy, right? If you took the happy flower painting, you know all about creating happy and choosing happy. But today, my intention for this painting is to create change, which is so interesting, right? Because most people do not want change. I like thrive on change. I don't know what got miswired in my brain when I grew up, but somehow I got the gene that makes you want to have change all the time. So my intention for this painting today, let me get that dry, is create change. All right, so today let's go over what I've got, what supplies I have today. So a couple of things. I have a wash brush here. A wash brush. This is a 3/4. You could use a 1-inch as well. I call this a Big Daddy, my Big Daddy brush, and this one I call Little Mama. This is my Little Mama brush, and this is just smaller. It's about a 1/2 inch, I would say, 1/2 inch wash. So I love Little Mama's like my favorite brush, by the way. I don't know why. Her and I just seem to work really well together. I also have a paper plate for our paints. And I forgot about Round Robin. This is Round Robin. So Round Robin is just a rounded, it's got a little point on the tip, paintbrush. So we have Big Daddy, Little Mama, and Round Robin. Okay, those are our brushes today. If you have a large chip brush, this is a 3-inch chip brush, you can use it for the background. But if you don't, you can certainly use your 1 or 3/4 inch wash, and that will work as well. Okay, we've got our paper plate. I'm just going to put a few dabs of the colors so you can see them. And one of the important things as we go through this today is the painting that I'm going to be showing you today is going to be a different color than this painting, right? So I'm going to show you how to take the exact same painting and make it look different so that it's happy for you. So if you love this, let me just move this for a second. If you love this, your colors that you're going to want are this bright, like royal blue. So blue, a light blue, which you could just add white to the blue and it'll give you a lighter blue. I like to just buy or have the colors that I'm actually using. So you'll have blue, light blue. This is like a gold color. So you'll have gold or a mustardy kind of, not mustardy, more like Dijon mustard, peanut butter, more like a peanut butter color. And then green, and then black and white. So those will be your colors if you're working off of this, okay? So you got blue, you have light blue, you have kind of this sienna kind of color, and then green. Okay, and black and white. That's this one. The one that we're going to be doing today is a little different. I'm going to show you all. So this is a color wheel. We're not going to get into like super big theory here for for today. I just want to show you a couple things. When I'm planning my paintings, there's a couple things that kind of come to mind sometimes when I'm choosing my colors. So this is a color wheel, and you know, we live at the beach, so I like Halloween. I like, you know, I just told you I love fall. It's a time of change for me, and I love change. And my birthday is also in the fall, so that maybe that's what stems the whole change thing. But the orange pumpkins for me, it's like it looks really cool in some instances, but at our beach house, it just like looks out of place. So so I love this kind of because these blue, because it kind of goes with it's a little bit more beachy, but it's a little farmhousey, right? With the wood planks back here. So I'm gonna create something that's even a little bit more subtle and beachy for me. So in order to do that, when I was planning my colors, I knew I wanted to start with blue. And in fact, I want to kind of do a light blue. So if you look at this, there's a couple of things. If you want your colors to stand out, like if you want one color to pop on your painting, then you would go exactly opposite of the color wheel. So the exact opposite of blue is orange. Now, I didn't grow up. I lived in Denver for over a decade. I always remember that from the Broncos. I'm just like, oh yeah, Broncos. Like when I go, oh, what's the opposite of blue? Oh yeah, Broncos, orange. So blue and orange, that's how I always remember it. But then if you want kind of a subdued or a more of a pulled back kind of look, then you're gonna look at the colors around the color that you chose. So if I'm gonna go blue, then the color that is around or right next to blue is this blue green. Okay, so more of like a tealy color. So so that's how I chose my colors, and then next to that is purple. All right, so these three colors would help to make the painting just a little bit more, yeah, like pulled back. And of course, you've got to work within the ranges here in the tones, but we're not going to go super far into that. But this is, you can just, you don't have one of these fancy things, you can just Google color wheel or what is the complementary color of whatever you want to do. So I'm going to show you. So that's how I picked my colors today. So starting with the blue. Now this is, I got these at Michael's. This is just Craft Smart acrylic craft paint. So let's see, this one is called Island Blue. Seems appropriate, Island Blue. So I'm gonna pour that one. I'm just gonna show you these. I'm just gonna put in little dots. Right next to blue is what? Do you remember? It's the blue green. It's the blue green. So it's the teal. This color is Ocean Breeze. We're really doing the beach theme here, huh? All right. And then this one is Coral. So these are the colors I'm using. I'll tell you where all these are going to go here in just a second. I'm just putting them on here so you can kind of see what the palette looks like. We, of course, have black and white. I'm not going to pour those just at this point. And then I also have some purple. All right. So if I look at the color wheel, opposite of blue is this orange, right? So if I lighten the blue and I lighten the orange, I've got these two, which are opposite on the color wheel. This one, I should have put this next to each other, huh? This blue and this teal are next to each other, and this purple is next to each other. Now see how much darker that purple is? So it really kind of like stands out. Now, if I want it to be more along the lines of these shades, then I would add a little bit of white to lighten that up a little bit. All right, so I also have some, yeah, I also have some tan, and I'm going to use that to kind of create some shadows on our pumpkins. So this is our palette that we're working off of today. So crazy, right? Like that this is going to be this, but it's not, because I'm going to create my happy today. So I'll walk you through how to do both of them. All right, so let's get started. I also got my Starbucks today. It's the morning for me. So grab whatever you want to drink, settle in, and away we go. All right, so I'm going to take my 12 by 16. I'm just going to move this for right now. Okay, and we're going to start with the background. Now, if you are doing the blue, more the farmhouse look, you're going to use blue, okay? So all we're doing is blocking in the background for right now. And oh, let me just kind of give you a kind of an overview here. So what I'm going to do for my happy today, and you create your happy, but what I'm going to do is my background is actually going to be the blue. So my background is going to stay the blue. My pumpkins, okay, my background is going to be the blue. My pumpkins are going to be more of this coral kind of color with the tan shades. And then my leafy stuff on the side is going to be the teal and the purple. All right. So if you are creating this one with these colors, then you're going to start with the blue. You may choose a completely different background color than the blue that we're doing, and that is a-okay. I'm going to use my chip brush, and I am actually going to do a little shortcut here. Woo. And away we go. Now, one of the things with the background that you want to kind of keep in mind is I like to go all one direction. You might want to go like this. That's fine, but just know it just creates a different texture. So it depends kind of what you're going for. I need a lot more paint. Also, if you have a canvas where you have sides to it and you want to paint your sides, paint them now. Paint them now. It's a lot easier to paint them now while you have that color on your paintbrush than to go back and paint them at a later time. Do I have any other like fall folks on here where you just love fall? Or what is it that you like? Maybe we'll start there. What do you like? What is your favorite season? Maybe it's summer. You know, for me, growing up, the fall was an awesome season for me too, because like I'll just take you to high school real quick. Because like in high school, I was on the dance team, so you know we were always practicing for football games, and then you know the football games on Friday nights was always fun. We got to travel with not with the team, but we got to travel, you know, wherever the team went. So that was always like a really good time. And I loved dance team. Like I loved it. I loved practicing. I loved performing. I loved all the things, and just like the crisp air of fall. And I grew up in Nebraska, so it's harvest. And I wasn't like not a farm girl by any means. Never really even grew up on a farm, but the cool thing about growing up in Nebraska and harvest is, and you know this if you're from the Midwest, but the sunsets are like insanely gorgeous. insanely gorgeous because you have all this dust kind of up in the air. And so when the sun set, it just like captures all those little particles and it's just so, so beautiful. Okay, so once you get your background done, we actually need to let this dry. So you can pause the video, you can blow dry it, you can use a heat gun, you can you can let it air dry, but we do need it to be dry before we go to the next step. And while that happens, I'm just going to talk to you here for just a moment. And you see this painting behind me. So I don't know what painting we're going to do for next month yet for the membership, but this is one that I did that I thought was so cute, so cute. And I did it actually. And my aunt was like, oh my gosh, I love that. It reminds me of Rhonda. Rhonda's my mom. And so I actually did one for her. It's so cute. Little snowman, little cardinal. Hey, why do cardinals always come in twos? Do y'all ever realize that? Cardinals are always like in twos. I don't know why that is. It's always like the male and the female, I guess, right? I don't know. So anyway, so I'll keep you posted on what our next one is. I just thought that was cute, wanted to show you. So I'm gonna take a little break here. I'm gonna blow dry my canvas and I'll come right back. Okay, now that your background is dry, we are going to start with our pumpkins. So let me just switch the camera angle for you. And just a little reminder, today our intention is to create change. So we are creating change, and how we are doing that is we are taking an original design that I did previously, right? And we are changing it up. We are changing it up today. So if you are following this one, you have just the blue on the background. You will come in and do the details a little bit later, but we got to get our pumpkins in. We got to get our pumpkins in. So no matter which one you're doing, you still need to put in your pumpkins. Now, a couple of different ways. Well, if you're doing this one, if you're doing the blue pumpkins, you're going to now grab your light blue, okay? Your light blue paint. If you are following along with me, you are going to grab your coral paint or whatever colors you chose, right? So whatever colors you chose, but whatever the color of the pumpkin is going to be, you're going to do that now. You can go right in with paint. You can also, if you have I'm looking for my piece of chalk. If you have a piece of chalk, you can actually sketch them in first. So if it makes you really nervous to just go for it, you can always use chalk on dry paint. I don't even know if you can see that. And the cool thing about chalk on dry paint is if you mess up, you can just wipe it off, right? So it's erasable. Why do you think teachers use chalk? Because it's erasable. All right, so we have on our pumpkins, we have one tall skinny one and one short little chunky one. I'm going to start with the one in the background, which is the tall skinny one. And if you think about it, we're just drawing parentheses. All right, so we're just doing parentheses. So I'm going to come in on my 12 by 16. It's about 4 finger widths over and about a hand width from the top. And I'm just going for it, y'all. Whoop. And then my other parentheses. Whoop. And then from there, you're going to build another parentheses. This one's going to be a little bit shorter than the ones that you just did. Whoop. And then again on the other side. Whoop. So you should have 4 lines. You should have 4 lines. Now I'm going to go back over those and connect the dots. Da, 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 da. Okay, and we're going to do an upside down smiley face. So we're just making this arch on this first one. And then we're making the smiley face at the bottom. And then on these, we're just kind of connecting. We're doing the upside down smiley face. I'm just making my lines a little bolder so you can see them. And then whoop, smiley face at the bottom. Same with this one. And smiley face at the bottom. All right. Now we got to do the same thing. We've got to do it to our chunky monkey on the right hand side. Now that one kind of overlaps this skinny one. So I'm going to make it about a third of the size of this one. So I'm going to do I'm actually just going to do an oval shape to begin with. Okay, and then my parentheses overlaps. This one's going to go off the canvas just a little bit. And then my upside down smiley faces and my smiley faces to connect them. All right, so now we know where our pumpkins are going to go. That's it. That's what that's all we need to do. So now we're going to block this in a little bit. So if I go, I'm going to use my wash brush. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse that off. I forgot to mention, but I have a cup of water here as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to go right in with my coral. And I'm going to follow the lines. Follow the lines of your pumpkin. So you're basically doing those parentheses all over again. You're just doing them on the inside. All right, while you do that, I'll talk to you a little bit about change, change in life. Positive psychology is something that I study, I research. I wrote a book on the science of happiness. So it's all very fascinating to me. But did you know that there are 5 stages of change? There's 5 stages of change. So when you are going to make a change, and this is behavior change. So this is not like rearranging your living room change, although some of these stages do still kind of apply. But in behavior stage or behavior change, there's 5 stages of change. So if you are trying to make a change in your life, whatever that is, these are the 5 stages. The first stage is pre-contemplation. Pre-contemplation. Now, this might even happen in your subconscious mind, right? You might kind of know that there's something that you want to change, but it's not quite so obvious yet. So pre-contemplation. Then contemplation. So step 2 is contemplation. Now, contemplation is in your conscious mind, right? You know that there's change. You're contemplating. Okay, I need to change. I need to change this or that. And here's why. And maybe I should do it. You're contemplating. Maybe it's just something I should do. You're considering it. So that is step 2. Step 3 is then you're preparing. So you prepare for the change. Like, okay, so now you've decided to do it. So now you're going to prepare. What things do you need to have in place? I'll just give you kind of an example. For me, right now, my brother and I are running or are training for a half marathon. So I knew that I was going to have to change up not only my day, but my habits as well, right? So I knew that. So that was kind of my contemplate. Okay, should I do this? Am I going to do this? Right. And then preparation. Okay, so now that I decided I'm doing this, now I need to prepare. What's my plan? What's my running plan? What's my nutrition plan? For me, a lot of times, if I don't have a plan in place, it is not going to happen, folks. Like, I really envy those who can just like go for it and just like do like a mental prep and then just take action. But that, for whatever reason, is not me in a lot of ways. All right, so prep. So I've got my training plan, I've got everything ready to go. And then action. Okay, so now I actually, now I start running. Now I actually start changing my habits. And then so that's the next stage is action. And then the last stage is maintenance. So you got to maintain it, right? You can't stop and go. So you got to maintain it. I think that that's the hardest part, is the maintenance part. Okay, so we've got this in here. Now you can do a couple different things. If you're doing the blues, right? You're now going to take white, and while this is still wet, and you're just gonna come in here and put in, and I'll show you how to do that, and put in some highlights. So I'm not even like cleaning my brush, and I'm gonna do the same thing here with ours, with the coral ones. So I'm not even cleaning my brush, wet on wet. I'm just taking some white, just going right in. I'm gonna follow the same thing, and I'm just gonna kind of blend some of that in. Okay, I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just taking little spots. I'm just gonna blend right over it. So you can kind of think about, like, not to get super technical here, but like, where's your light source? So if your light source is coming right on the pumpkin, then the highlights are gonna be right in front, right? And then as they curve around, these are gonna end up in the shadows, these little areas right here, these stripes. If your light is coming from up here, well then the tops of them are going to be highlighted. It's really up to you, but you don't even have to get that technical. You can just add some highlights in wherever you want. You create your happy, however that looks for you. Keep getting like green on my paintbrush. All right. Whoa. My white paint just like literally like leapt onto my canvas. Okay. Some here. Whoop. Maybe just a little bit, right? Okay. Now our pumpkins are really starting to become more 3D. You're really adding some depth to it. I'm just going to put a little bit more white over here. All right. Now is a really good time to talk about too, that your painting might not look exactly like, especially you're changing colors, but might not look exactly like this painting. This painting won't look exactly like my painting, even though I did both. Like, give yourself space to grow. Give yourself space to enjoy the process. And give yourself space to create your own happy. Okay, so now that we have our pumpkins all blocked in, we're gonna let these dry a little bit, and we're gonna put in our, I'll just show you, we're gonna put in our little tops. What are these called? Why can't I think of what these are called? Anyway, so for this one, I am going to, going to use this kind of brown or tan, I should say. Let me bring this one back. If you're going with this one, you're going to use kind of this yellow, okay, or this gold for your tops. So I just picked up Little Mama, by the way. Why? Because she's my favorite brush. Any excuse I can find to use her, I will use her. All right, so we're gonna just create these little stems. Now, the best way to do this is to do a upside down smiley face again, just on top. This is gonna be the top of your stem. I'm gonna make mine a little off center. So upside down smiley face. And then I'm just gonna extend that all the way down. All the way down. I'm just gonna come in and do whoop, the other side. Almost made like a little hook. I'm just going to connect these, and then I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to be very careful to not go inside my pumpkin or have any of that paint come into my stem. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on the little guy. I'm still using Little Mama. I'm going to do the same thing. Create my little hook. And then whoop. This one is almost like the right side of a heart, right? So whoop. All right. And then we're just going to fill that in right to our pumpkin. Okay. So now we are going to let these pumpkins dry. And when we come back, we're going to add in our foliage, if you will, our little bottoms. And then I'll teach you how to do this if you're moving along with this design, with the farmhouse look. And we will be right back. All right, y'all, so I just did a quick dry. And I want to talk to you for a sec. Hey, okay, so I just did a quick dry. And it's actually not even completely dry. Yours might be completely dry, which is even better. I like have no patience in life either. Oh, this is like such a common theme in my life. Not only do I love to, I don't even know how. Not only do I love to create change, I also like to get through things. Okay, so I have zero patience. And my mom used to always say that. My dad used to always say that, you don't have any patience. And I'm like, well, patience is a virtue that I just don't have. I'm sorry. As we are talking about change, I'm just going to show you this again in case you're following along right now with this one. So you would have, at this point, you would have your blue background, your blue pumpkins, and your gold or yellow kind of trims. How do I keep calling stems? Trims. The heck is a trim on a pumpkin, Amy? All right. If you are doing one like this, which I am creating my own happy today, making it a little bit more beachy, then you would have something that looks like this. All right, we need to come down. We need to add in our little stems, our little foliage. If you look at like some of the paintings I do that are more commission based of like pets and portraits and all that stuff, they're always like not true to like skin tones, let's say, right? Or it's not really like the fur color. It's a totally different color. It's so much more bold. So I love like taking a concept and making it completely different, changing up the colors. Who has blue pumpkins? I don't know. But as I said earlier, orange pumpkins to me, they just don't look good here. So we're creating our own happy. We're doing what we want to do. We are going to go in now with our liner or round robin. Where's round robin? Here's round robin. Round robin has seen better days. Okay. We're going to go in with round robin now, and we're going to create our foliage. Now for this, we are going to use the purple and the green. I'm going to add just a little bit of white to my purple, just so it's not so dark up against this very light palette. So I'm just mixing a little bit of purple and some white to make it just a bit lighter. Okay. So we're going to start there, and really, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give these pumpkins something to sit on. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a little squiggly line, just a little whoop. Now they're not floating in the air. All right, I need a little bit more white. I'm just mixing a little bit more purple here. All right. So you are going to remember the parentheses, you're kind of going to do that again, but it's just going to be a curved line. So you can either start at the top or you can start at the bottom. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. I'll show you both ways. So here, I'm going to start almost to the middle of where this pumpkin is, and I'm just going to curve up. Whoop. I went off my canvas a little bit, but I want it to come back. So I'm going to have that one come back. All right, and then I'm going to do another one right to the left of it. Whoop. Can you even see that? So I've got 2 lines. And then I'm going to do one more. No, I'm actually going to do 2 more on this side. So I'm just going to curve right around, whoop, and then whoop. All right. So those are my lines. Now we got to put these leaves in. People, we got to put these leaves in. So the best way to do this is to take round robin and spin it to win it. So get a lot of paint. In fact, I need to mix more paint. So I'm just going to take some more purple, some white, and mix, mix, mix. Okay, I'm going to spin it to win it. And you're just going to push and drag, push and drag. So as I do these leaves, I'll start over here. I'm going to push and drag, push and drag, drag, push and drag, push and drag. We're going to go on both sides. Don't forget about this little guy down here. And we're going to do the same thing up here. If you have edges on your canvas, you can paint the edges as if it's like coming off of the canvas. Also, kind of like going at this angle. So push, drag, just coming right back down to that vine. All right. Fill in a couple of spots here. Okay, while that's still wet, I'm going to actually go in now with just the purple. Okay, and I'm going to add right on top of it. Just going to go right back over to add some shadows. And it's going to blend a little bit, which is perfect. That's what you want. You don't want just like one line. Paint some purple. My line a little bit. All right. Okay. I'm going to rinse your brush off. And now we're starting to bring it home a little bit. So if you are doing, if you're doing this one, now is the time where you're going to take black, okay? You're going to make a straight line, a horizontal line at the top. Now, for this one, it's a 16 by 20. It's about 4 finger widths down. If I was doing this one, it would probably be like 3 finger widths down. So you're just going to do a horizontal line and making sure you don't go through your stems here. And then you're going to suggest where the planks are, right? Where the wood planks are. So the way I like to do is I like to take around robin for all of this and just very lightly kind of draw my lines. And you can see they're not perfectly straight. They're not even like the same kind of amount of paint. It's just like wherever my paintbrush kind of hit the canvas at that point is where it hit the canvas. And that will create those wood planks. So you can go ahead and do that now if you are doing this design. And you can even do it on here too, if you're doing these colors too. This creates more of like that rustic look. For me today, I am creating more of a beach kind of look. So I'm not going to do that, but that's how you would do that. All right. So you can go ahead and take your black and do that now if you are doing that piece of it. Okay. Once you're done with that, if you're doing that, then everyone, no matter which one you're doing, we are now going to take our black and we are going to outline. We are going to create some shadows. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. Actually, it's not even coffee, it's chai. You know, I like coffee. It's so interesting. I will only drink coffee at home. I don't like it like at a restaurant or if we, at our hotel or whatever. Only not at Starbucks, nowhere, just at home. Okay, so we are going to add in now our outline. So I'm just taking round robin. I'm just putting a little bit of black. So here's a little trick. If you put a little bit of black on the tip, and then if you kind of like brush the side of your, why can I not think today? Paper plate. That'll get some of that excess off. And again, I am outlining, but I am just kind of where my brush touches the canvas is where that outline is going to go. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like if you did happy flowers with us, when I outlined those flowers, the outlines were inside the flowers. So it's just, that's how I like to paint, but you create your happy. You create your happy. Okay. So I'm just going to start here on the stems. I'm just going to kind of outline where those are. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to outline where my little curves are here. We're going to come back in and add some shadows on those curves here in just a little bit. See, I don't have black, like just wherever it hits the canvas, it's kind of where my outline goes. And yes, I make noises when I paint. Don't we all? Please tell me you do. I don't want to be alone in this world. Now, while you have black paint on your brush, you're also going to come in here and add a few more shadows to your vines. So I'm just going to add just kind of where my brush kind of lightly touches the canvas. If you're a heavy handed painter, sometimes I tell people to hold their brush like at the end and then kind of go for it. And then that will really kind of make you not put it in an exact line, right? It'll make your paintbrush bounce off the canvas, which is what you want. All right, so I created a couple shadows. Whoop, I forgot this one on my vines, and then I'm gonna come in here and just create a couple just very light little shadows on the bottoms of my leaves. It doesn't even have to be everyone. Okay. I'm also going to add to my little squiggly down here. Whoop, whoop. Add to my little squiggly. And then I'm going to come back up here. On here, you've got these little twirlies, whoop, right here. So you take your stem and you just whoop, kind of bring it around and give it a little squiggle. So I'm gonna take my little, here's where my thing goes. I'm just, wherever it goes, it's gonna go. I'm just gonna go whoop. And same here. We'll add some highlights to it. Whoop. So there's my squiggles. What do your squiggles look like? Okay, time to rinse round robin. We are now going to add in one more depth of color onto our purple. So I'm going in with my teal. Round robin, still using round robin. And now I'm just going to kind of, these are almost going to act as highlights, but I'm just going to just lightly push on the top of my petals. I mean, I'm still doing like the push and drag, but very lightly. And I'm almost just using just the tip of round robin. So I'm not using the whole brush like we did before. Add in some green or some teal on the stem. Come back. You know, as we kind of like wrap up and do like the details, I always really think like this is the time to really like make it your own. So whatever you want to do, you can do. I'm just gonna add in a few little squigglies down below. I'm also gonna take this green. I'm just gonna add in a few little highlights on top of my stems. Okay. Wash off round robin. At this point, if you are doing this one, you can now take a really anything like a business card, or if you have a palette knife, like that's great. You can do that too. But you would just take the side of just like I'm not going to use this, but a side of a business card, and you would dip it in your paint, and you're just going to kind of scratch your surface. So you can do this, and that'll create kind of like that rustic kind of look. So here I would put white paint on, and I would just kind of scratch it down. Alternatively, if you have like a really scratchy old brush, you could dry brush. So the way that you would do that is you would take your brush, I'll show you. It's got to be like bone dry. This one's not, but it's got to be bone dry. And then you would take whatever color you're doing. Let's say you're doing white. And then you want to just brush off as much as that white as possible. So you have very little on your brush. See if I can do this while holding. And then you're just going to very lightly come in and do your brush strokes like this. See that effect? And then like I could go this way. So you could do that too, right? I could do some up here, maybe some right here. So just take a very dry brush, put just a little bit of paint on it, and you can create that effect. Okay, so if you're doing that, now is the time to do that. We are gonna come in now, and I'm using my wash brush, and I'm gonna add in some shadows to my pumpkins. So we did the outline, now we're just gonna add in some shadows. So I'm just taking this tan, and I'm just gonna go kind of right along some of these edges right here. Whoop, just very lightly, just adding in some shadows. So I'm going to do another parentheses right over here. Wherever your brush kind of skips across the canvas is where you want it to be. Don't forget about the little guy. His official name is Little Guy. All right, really starting to come together. Now we're going to come back in, and I just use the edge of my brush. By the way, you can use Round Robin too, if you prefer. Y'all, all we really have left is the highlights, is the white highlights, and then the fun little bring it home details. Okay, so I'm going to go now use Round Robin, and it doesn't matter which one you're doing, if you're doing Farmhouse or if you're doing this one or if you're doing your own. You're going to go in with the white, and we're going to add some highlights to the pumpkin and then some highlights to our foliage, if you will. So, whoops, it's a little too much white. So I'm just going to go in here and just kind of brighten this up a little bit. Just adding in some highlights. You know, follow where you're going. Follow the way of your brush strokes. So if you did a parentheses over here, you know, kind of follow that same pattern over here. Okay. I need some more white. Always more white. You can never, for whatever reason, always need more white. Okay, and then I'm going to add in and I've just got a little bit of white. A little bit of white. Whoops, let's do this again. On Round Robin, and we're just going to whoop, whoop. I'm just kind of dotting my foliage. Foliage, is that what we're going to call this? So now I'm just kind of going on the tops. Maybe there's a little highlight on my stem. Just very quickly, I'm just tapping. Tap, 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 tap. Add some highlights on my stem. What about this one over here? All right, y'all, really coming together. Now I'm going to do some highlights on these stems, on my pumpkin stems. So fun. Okay, if you look at this one, there's like this highlight, like right on the outside of our stems and on our little twirly thingies. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So I'll just show you. So I'm gonna start with the little guy, and it's just a white line, whoop, following just on the outside of that stem. And then we also have just a couple of highlights on our twirly. Same with this one. So I'm just going to do a little bit of white just on the outside. And then a few little highlights on our twirly. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Now it's time to really make it your own. So I'm going to go right in. I'm just going to wipe my brush off. I'm going to go right in with black. Just going to put some little polka dots. Boop, boop. right on the inside here, maybe over here. Maybe right here. You don't have to do this, of course. This is just your time to make it fun, make it your own, create your happy, whatever that looks like for you. All right, y'all. And there are happy little pumpkins. Now you have one last step. Do you know what it is? I think you do. And that is, folks, to sign your painting. Sign your painting. I like to use Round Robin, or if you have a paint pen, you can use a paint pen. But there we go. Thank you so much for creating these happy pumpkins with me. We will see you on the next one. And just to bring it back. All right. Here are these. These are our happy autumn, happy pumpkins, right? And we started with this. So I'd love to see what you created. Be sure to post it, tag me, use the hashtag create happy so we can see. And then today we also create a change. So I want you to think about, what change do you want to see in your life? How can you design your life around what you want, and what changes need to happen for that? We will see you on the next Create Happy. Thanks for hanging.